So for today's video, if you are a consumer, you're going to want to lean in because I am going to go through 10 questions that homeowners wish that they would ask real estate agents but are too afraid to. I get it. When you are thinking about hiring someone to help you buy or sell your home, you want to make sure that you've made the right decision. And there's nothing worse than buyer's remorse when an individual has sold themselves to be a certain kind of way, ultimately find out that the juice was not worth the squeeze. If you enjoy content like this on a regular basis, be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments below if I missed any of the questions that you wish you'd ask a real estate professional but are too afraid to do so. Number one, thinking about selling my house, but every realtor I meet says they're the best. How am I actually supposed to tell who's good and who's just good at marketing? So I think that the right fit is going to be subjective to what your expectations are as a buyer or seller. I think that it's important to realize that you don't know what you don't know. And every agent in front of you that is interviewing for the position is ultimately just trying to tell you what they think you want to hear. But I would look for body language. I would look for those things, not necessarily what's said, but what's left unsaid as far as what the experience is going to be like. How are they going to communicate to you every step of the process when the home goes for listing? What are some of the ways that they approach the negotiation process when an offer actually has come through for you? And how hard will they fight and advocate for you as a buyer's representative if you have that home that you just love, 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 but you're competing with other offers on that exact same property? I think that it's really important to make sure from a discernment standpoint that you have given the job to someone who not only says everything that you need to hear, but also gives you the vibe and gives you the feeling that you've made the right decision working with them. And if that's not the case, have the conversation and make the adjustments as necessary. Dear Marvin, one agent told me that they sell 100 houses a year. Another said I'd work directly with them the whole time. Should I choose the big team agent or the one who's more hands-on? So for me, when I hand out referrals to agents in other cities, I think, some of the issues that I've ran into early in my career is that I didn't do a good enough job vetting the agent to make sure that the person that I'm handing this referral off to is going to be the person with my client every step of the way. Sometimes when you are working with a real estate agent, especially one that does quite a bit of business, they're going to need support. They're going to need help. In many cases, you can't sell 100 homes completely by yourself. You're going to need a team. And so I think for me, I would ask that agent, am I going to be working with you to go look at every single home that I'm interested in? And if not, what's that going to look like? Because some agents do have showing agents that they work with, but that showing agent, if that's not your preference, you need to make it known that you do want to see a home with that person that you're working with. And that agent will let you know if it's logistically possible, because some agents may cover a huge state, but also have team members that are assigned to certain cities, certain suburbs, or whatnot, that will be the ones that help through that process. But if you are insistent on working with that agent every step of the way, convey that on the front end. And if that agent can oblige, he or she will do that. And if not, they will let you know, hey, this is my Robin to my Batman, if you will, that's going to be doing all of the showings on this particular part of town because they live or they work in this particular area. But if that is not what you're comfortable with, say that on the front end so you don't have a headache on the back end. Hey, if you've made it this far in the video and you are a real estate professional, consider partnering with me here at Real Brokerage. Pay nothing per month, get a fantastic split, and you have the opportunity to build a business through revenue share and stock purchases. Book a call at the link below in today's video, and I'm happy to have a conversation on why I was able to grow my business exponentially by moving my practice to Real Brokerage. All right, back to the video. Dear Marvin, if an agent suggests listing my home lower than the other agent did, are they being honest or are they just trying to get the listing? So I think that it depends on if they are suggesting listing at a lower cost to you, meaning that they are willing to drop their fee on the front end and not even give you any pushback about it. They just tell you, I'm going to sell your home for 1%. Or if they are suggesting a price that is different than what the other agent suggested. Ultimately, all of us as real estate professionals, we leverage the power of something called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. And the homes that are in the reports will fluctuate on what we think the value of your property is going to be. But ultimately, I don't like to walk into a listing appointment if I haven't actually walked the home itself. But for me, I don't like to talk price as far as what I think a home will be sold for or not until I actually walk that property myself. Because I could pull 3 properties that are in the area that recently sold, and I could tell you that those 3 properties sold for $500,000. So I'm going to list your home for 500,000. But if I walk into your home and it's very much outdated, it's got bugs, and I'm being nice about that, or the roof hasn't been replaced in the entire 20 years you've lived on the property, that's going to affect what I think I could get for your property. So I think that it's important that a realtor that you plan on working with maybe provides you a range. And then once they actually see your home, they'll let you know how close to the middle, bottom, or the top of that market will be based on your actual property. Because the comparables that a real estate agent will pull may not have certain upgrades that you actually made to your home. So if you've made those upgrades that the other comparable properties have not, like let's say brand new flooring where the comparables were all carpet, you've recently replaced your roof, or you've done some other cool stuff to your home that's not a personal kind of upgrade, but something that really adds value to a property, like putting fence in, putting brand new flooring where the home had carpet, that kind of stuff that really truly adds to the value, then they can give you an estimate of what your home could be listed for that's going to be as accurate as possible. But ultimately, the market is going to determine what your home is worth. So just because you invested in those gold toilets doesn't mean you're going to get a return on that investment. So be careful. Dear Marvin, I met a realtor who seems really nice, but they never answer the phone when I call, and every time it goes to voicemail. Is that normal these days, or is that a red flag? That is absolutely a red flag. We as real estate professionals, we live and we die by our cell phones. This cell phone or not answering a cell phone can make the difference between whether I eat this month or whether I'm able to take that family trip. That's how much our income fluctuates as real estate professionals. It is what it is. It's still a great career to be a part of. And so if you have an agent that is not returning your phone call, and I mean within a normal period of time. So, for example, you reach out to the agent at 9 a.m. and you never hear from them. That's not a good thing, especially if you've tried that a couple of times. But if you've reached out to an agent at 9 o'clock p.m., don't expect them to pick up their phone because work-life balance is a thing. But you definitely should hear from that real estate agent by 9 a.m. the following day. So for me personally, on my voicemail, I'll walk clients through or prospects that reach out and I say, hey, if you're reaching out after XYZ time, I will return your call the next business day. So if it's the weekend, they know the next business day I'm going to reach out to them. But it definitely shouldn't be a thing where you've reached out to that agent once, twice, 3 times, and the response has been sporadic. Or if you tell them that you're not quite ready to buy, then all of a sudden the communication starts to get janky. Those are absolutely red flags. A good real estate agent, even if you're not ready to make a move yet, will put you in their system to stay connected with you, to send you homes that you might be interested in certain parts of town, in certain budgets. But ultimately, if you're ready to go, then you should find a real estate agent that is ready to go as well. So this was a good question that came in. It said, Marvin, would you hire an agent with tons of social media followers or one who barely posts but sells homes every week? So social media followers does not necessarily mean it's going to be an amazing experience for you. That just means that that agent is really good on social media. But what really is the telltale sign of what the experience is going to be is ultimately the reviews that their previous clients have left for them. References, people that you should be able to look at anonymously and see what that experience is like working with Marvin or working with Sally Sue. Having a bunch of social media followers in a world where you can buy followers on social media so that you add to your clout, it's a thing. It is what it is. But actually working with a real estate professional and knowing that that experience is going to be great will be subjective, and reviews are extremely helpful with doing that. But if it's a person that doesn't post a lot and doesn't have a presence on social media, they don't have a lot of reviews online, it's a strong possibility that that person is new. Now, working with a new agent isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means that that person was new. So you can't gain experience without experience. So if I'm working with a brand new agent, if I were a consumer, that person should be able to articulate, by faking it or making it, they should be able to articulate what that experience is going to be like working with you. My very first client, my very, very, very first sale, they have no earthly idea that they were my first client. And they'll never know, because when that person reached out to me and asked me if I could help them with the home buying process, I stepped up to the opportunity. I leaned on my managing broker. I leaned on my mentor at the time, and I did what needed to be done to get that person to the finish line. I have all of these gray hairs because of it, because it was an extremely stressful situation. But I showed up. I didn't have reviews online when that person reached out, but I was able to articulate what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, and how I was going to do it effectively. And they were very, very satisfied with the end result. And it ended up turning into 2 transactions, which is always super fun. Dear Marvin, 2 realtors gave me the exact same commission rate, meaning they're going to charge the same thing. What should I actually be comparing to decide who to hire? So I think that that's a really good question. And it really should be the person that is able to articulate what they're going to do for you in a way that you need to hear it. So if it's one agent that says, I'm going to get you the most money possible and sell your home in 30 days, they don't know that. The market's going to determine how quickly that home sells. But if another agent says, my job is to fight for you, my job is to advocate for you, and if and when an offer comes through, I'm going to do my best to make sure that the terms of the offer are as advantageous to you as possible. That's a whole different conversation. And they said a lot without having to say a lot, right? Without making specific guarantees. But they articulated that they're going to fight for me. They articulated that any offer that comes through may not necessarily be the best offer, and they're going to make sure of that. So I have an advocate, I have a friend, someone who's looking out for me, and that's going to be the agent that I would go with, the one that's able to articulate what I need to hear, how I need to hear it, with the heart of a teacher. Marvin, if my home doesn't sell in the first 30 days, what should a good realtor be doing differently? Oh, this is such a good question. I love when I get good questions. So, if a home doesn't sell in the first 30 days, don't be alarmed, especially if your real estate agent did convey that the typical turnaround time for a home to go under contract was like 30 to 45 days or 30 to 60 days. Having a good realtor means having a realtor that is looking at market data to see how long homes sit in the market in your specific area. So they hopefully articulated that it is a possibility that the home could sit for longer than 30 days. And if that's the case for you, I always want to circle back to what the initial conversation was like. Did the agent come up with a certain price that they think you should list your home for that you disagreed with? And you said, hey, this is what I want to list my home for. And you went against your realtor's suggested list price. That could be a factor, because maybe you overshot the market and you assumed that your home was worth more than it really was. The market told you otherwise, which is why that home is sitting. The next thing is that you want to make sure that the real estate agent is articulating what kind of feedback you're getting on that home. When people come and do a showing, most real estate agents have a system that will ask the other agent for feedback on the property, what they liked, what they didn't like, how they would rate the home, how likely would they be to making an offer on the home. And that feedback is what an agent that feels comfortable conveying what you do and what you may not want to hear to you, so that you all can come to a compromise, if you will, if some adjustments need to be made either to the price, presentation, or a combination of both. Also, you want to make sure that that agent has an open house going every single weekend when that home is first listed on the market, because what's really going to dictate how quickly a home comes under contract is how effective that marketing is within the first 2 weeks of that home being listed. That home should be in every potential buyer's inbox within the first 2 weeks, because it's priced so well that you'd be a fool not to jump on it. But in addition to that, the home should be staged very nicely. So if your realtor suggested that you make some minimalist, adjustments to the design of the home, being very strategic with where things are placed in the property so that there's a natural energy when a person walks in, then hopefully you did that, and hopefully you had a good photographer that the realtor suggested that told the story of that property in an effective way online. We're visual people. If a home looks janky online, I'm not going to more than likely schedule that for my client. and go actually do the showing. But there have been scenarios where the home looks amazing online, it is amazing in person, it's priced right, then we go ahead and put an offer in. Or it looks amazing online, we actually go to the property, you see that they put every filter under the sun on that property and they truly put lipstick on a pig. And that is feedback that I will tell an agent, hey, this home doesn't look like the pictures that you posted online. What's up with that? You know, what's up with the catfishing? Don't real estate catfish me, right? So I think that that type of feedback should be what a good agent is going back to a seller about. And if it's been 30 days, strongly consider making adjustments to the price to just see what happens, see if that creates activity. Because when you come under certain search parameters on Zillow. Usually it's about, under the 50,000 mark of a certain price point. Then your home starts showing up on other people's searches who are searching within let's say if it's listed for 305, then you bring the price down to 300,000. Now your home is in front of individuals who are looking for homes 300,000 that weren't getting your home because it was $5,000 over that bracket that they were in. So I think that that's really important to make sure that as you go beyond 30 days, that the pricing is adjusted, that the marketing is ramped up even more open houses, more door knocks, more postcards, but ultimately the price is what's going to be the determining factor. So that's something that you're going to want to make sure. And then the last thing, if you're not offering real estate commission to a buyer's agent, your brother, your uncle, I'm going to be honest with you. Your home is not going to be as appealing to a buyer's agent or a buyer if that buyer is basically told in so many words they're going to have to pay their buyer's agent in order to put an offer on that property. I always suggest to my clients that we should offer something proactively because that's going to make the difference. If a buyer's agent and a buyer are looking at two identical homes and one home is offering buyer compensation and one is not, which home do you think the buyer's agent and the buyer are going to really focus in on? The one that the buyer's not going to have to pay the buyer's agent anything for, and it's just human psychology. So those would be my suggestions, and I hope that helps you as you're 30 days and beyond. Dear Marvin, one agent promised my home would sell fast. Another agent I was interviewing started talking about possible problems. Should I trust the optimistic agent or the honest one? I think that you need to be honestly optimistic. And what do I mean by that? So when an agent is telling a client that their home's going to sell fast, they really shouldn't do that because you really don't know what the market is going to say unless you have data that supports that your client's home is significantly under market price. But that even with that, it's always a timing thing. So that doesn't necessarily mean that your client is going to get an offer on it immediately. If it's beautifully decorated, stages well, great pictures, perfectly priced, yes, the probability is higher, but you definitely shouldn't make anything that could be perceived as a guarantee because then it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than overpromise and underdeliver. Now, on the flip side of that coin, if an agent is pointing out a bunch of things wrong with my home, it's going to be a little concerning for me as a seller because I'm like, well, geez, tell me something positive about my property. Geez, Louise. So I think it's all about the tone and the delivery. You've got some personality types that want you to shoot them straight. For me, I'm still going to be optimistic in my honesty. So, for example, if I'm walking through a property and I see a bunch of roaches everywhere, right? I'm going to point out to my seller, hey, I have noticed that there is some insect activity with the property. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be a level of concern for a buyer that's interested in the property. So how about we proactively get the home sprayed for pests? That way, when the home is staged, buyers won't see that as a hindrance to purchasing their home or an indication that there's going to be future problems with the property. That's a really nice way and a great way and a professional way of saying, hey, man, you got roaches. You need to deal with these roaches before we can sell the house. It's all about the delivery. And I like to have a mixture of honest optimism. It shouldn't be one or the other. It should be a little bit of both. And the last great question that came in that I think is going to be extremely helpful for you as a consumer is someone said, Dear Marvin, I'm interviewing agents this week and I'm honestly overwhelmed. Aren't we all? What's the one question you think every homeowner should ask before signing the listing agreement? And I would say, tell me what your last 4 or 5 clients would say the experience was working with you. And they should be able to tell you what that experience was in a very honest way. They should be able to say, hey, Marvin overshared. He told me everything, because I do. I tell clients out the gate, I'm big on communication. Communication, communication, communication. I'm going to tell you a lot of things as we go through this process, Mr. and Mrs. Client. But my promise is that everything that I tell you, I'm going to explain how it's going to help or it's going to possibly hurt you. So if you're working with me and an offer comes in and the terms of the offer are a little weird, and I'm not comfortable with what the language is in this writing, I'm going to tell you that. Even if it's an offer at asking price, remember, Mr. and Mrs. Client, asking price or as close to asking prices or even over asking price if the market really allows that, is not the only factor that you should consider when accepting an offer, because a person can offer well over asking, but then if they put a appraisal contingency in that offer, for example, and the home appraises well under that price that they offered, well, they basically said that, yeah, we'll give you this amount of money, because they know the likelihood of it appraising for that amount that they're offering is extremely low. But they knew that they were probably dealing with a real estate agent that wasn't reading that kind of language to be able to advise them on this janky thing that they put into the contract and how it doesn't protect them or assure that the seller is going to get what the buyer is offering. Those are some of the things that clients that I've worked with would say, man, I am so glad that Marvin really explained a lot. It was overwhelming at the time, but he simplified it for me. He explained it to me like a 5-year-old, and we're so happy in our new home, or we got so much money for the sale of our home. An agent should be able to articulate what the experience was like with several different scenarios: a buyer client, a seller client, an investor client, a VA client, and how they articulated that experience working with all of those individuals. If they can't run off all these scenarios and just get excited talking about their previous clients and what that experience was like, you might want to run. So, in my opinion, these are some really good questions that came in that I think a lot of people are afraid to ask, but hopefully, because of this video today, I have demystified a lot of those concerns, and now you're ready to work with that real estate professional. But if you don't have a realtor, I am pride myself with building a network of like-minded folks. So if you need a realtor in your local market, I would implore you to reach out to me. I have realtors that I work with in all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii, that I can personally vet and make that introduction to, that have the heart of a teacher. They are the Marvin of Jackson, Mississippi. They are the Marvin of New Orleans, Louisiana, and they will take great care of you, or else they'll be in trouble with me. So if you're interested, click the link below to get on my referral network contact list, and someone from my team will reach out to you, see what it is that you need, and we'll make the right fit for you. And if you're a real estate agent that's interested in joining my referral network, I have another link in the description of this video, as well as within the comments, that you can tap in with if you're interested in joining my referral network. I need a few great agents all the time because, as I mentioned, quality is the most important thing to me. So if an agent is not meeting my standard, I quickly get them up out of here and bring in another agent that I know, I like, and I trust, and I hope that that would be you. So if you're interested, again, please click the link in the description to fill out the interest form. And before you go, YouTube thinks that this video right here would be advantageous to your day. So before you click off, the algorithm has picked this video for you out of the several billion people on Earth. YouTube thinks this video is going to make your day. So before you click off, check out one more video from the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.